playing.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Let's go.
Hello there. I am Jared from Comics League. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What is up, brother?
Oh, not much. I think this is a special episode we got going on here.
Yes, we have a very special guest with us making his debut on Comics League, artist extraordinaire Xeviuss. What's up, brother? What's up, brother?
It's just a nice show Friday night, and I got invited on here, so I thought this would be a blast to get to know Jared a bit. I've known Nick for a while.
Yep. You've been bugging me about.
Do you want to tell everyone what projects may have been shown on the show that Xeviuss did some work on?
Jared, telling is a lot, but I think showing is better. So could you do the honors, Jared, since you have it? You've already,
He did this little beauty right here.
Yep, that's right. We got the man, the man who did the cover art. So tell us how was that for you?
I'm doing a lot of covers, and I'm in comics, and I've done maybe 10 around here, and then I've got this fun group of dudes who are writers. We move in the same circles on Twitter. So I've done a lot of sci-fi, military, fantasy. I've kind of got my style, and it's sort of just been growing. But specific to Screecher, you didn't have a ton of. There was, let's see, you sent me about 3 references. I think there was one by Piper, maybe one by just they were like the character sheets. But
I think it was the one made by Lenore. I think I sent you like the Lenore, and then the some of the line art.
Okay, yeah, sorry, Leonore. All the girls around here, but yeah, I saw the panel where she was on a bike. I'm like, okay, cool, and you let me have a lot of latitude with that, so I ended up going with like a 70s bike, and just went to town. So it came out pretty good.
Yeah, you nailed the bike because the bike is actually supposed to be like a 70s Sportster, like a Harley Sportster kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's actually was like the models I sent for him. So you kind of just nailed that.
Yeah. And hey, owl wings was a cool, I don't know if they're like actually from an owl or if they're sort of synthetic and they're backlit and threw in some owls in the background in front of the moon. And, it came together pretty quick.
Yeah.
So it looks amazing.
So have you got a signed one there? That's what you got there, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
he's one of the people who ordered the Talon edition.
Yeah. Immediately. So
awesome.
I'm that type of guy that gets the collector's editions for anything, literally anything that comes out that I'm interested in.
Jared,
so I was like,
could you hold?
What's up?
Brown's asking the cover art of the comics, so if you'd hold it up real quick for him.
Yeah.
You might want. You should probably just have it by your desk or something.
Yeah, I might as well. Yeah, there you go. I'll put it right there. Hey, what's up, Tevia? So today we got a packed show in terms of topics.
Before we start the show, Xeviuss, tell them how you know the guy who did the KOTOR cover art.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. We went for drinks a couple months ago. I'm what's the quick version to say it? I have a degree in communication design, which basically was it basically makes me Don Draper, but not as handsome. Like I'm an idea guy, and in that process, it's art school, but it's applied design. So typography is my main thing, and illustration, and then it's all very strategic. So anyway, I got into a really good program. This is like 20 plus years ago. And 200 people went in. They select 40 to go on to the second year. And only 15 of us came out. So for the 4 years of school, Mike Sass is the name of the guy who did KOTOR. And we're best friends. So he went on to work at a company another friend of mine formed called BioWare, and he was the staff art director for BioWare. Another friend of mine, Janine Van Gool, did the typography and the logo for Knights of the Old Republic. So those guys stayed in the game industry, and I went on to directing TV commercials.
All right, so you're basically the Forrest Gump of the art community, apparently.
You're the guy who knows everyone.
You know,
I've been called.
What's up?
Yeah, I've been called Forrest Gump on podcasts before. Yeah, I do. I know. Like, there's a guy named John Gallagher. He's a concept artist with Marvel, DC, Lucasfilm. So anyway, so I went to the Edmonton Comic Convention, like in September? And by the way, these guys hate each other. They're sort of on opposite aisles. But on Artist Alley, the two big guys with the big displays. So on Saturday, I sat with John in his booth. And then on Sunday, I sat with Mike. And they just had their lineups. And so I kind of know what it feels like.
It's like a divorced child arrangement.
Yes.
Well, no. Some people.
So Saturday, you get Xeviuss, and then Sunday, I get Xeviuss.
I mean, it's professional. Just they.
I get it. I'm trying to make a joke.
That's just Nick. That's just Nick.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, look up John Gallagher art sometime. He is the most amazing. He's got a Boba Fett. It's the best Boba Fett that's ever been done.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I think the Mindo season 2 poster that launched or came out about a week and a half ago is pretty much lifted from his work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the people want us to talk about this first. So I guess, all right, we'll go kind of out of order of the topics. So Titans and Doom Patrol got canceled. And we knew this was going to happen because with James Gunn coming into DC and going, okay, we have to sync everything up. I knew you had to expect at least Titans was not going to survive it because that show was, for lack of a better term, controversial.
Yeah, like there's a lot of good stuff about the show, a lot of stuff that like people didn't had issues with. Overall, I think there was more like good than bad, and I definitely think the show got better as the seasons went along. But yeah, it's kind of a surprise that it lasted this long, honestly.
Yeah, it's really see, I think because it was a Batman adjacent project, that's why they kept that thing rolling hard, because DC is practically subsidized by the Batman office at this point, because it's like they publish 8 million Batman books and then are like, okay, so we're all good now. It doesn't matter if everything else is crap. But Doom Patrol actually surprised me because I thought that show would get at least another season after this, but I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, what do you think, Xeviuss?
I didn't watch it, so I'm yeah, I've pulled away from television a lot the last year or two. So
yeah,
I mean, I watched She-Hulk. But
how was that?
It's the one thing you watched.
One thing.
I know.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Xeviuss. So sorry.
Yeah, you've heard the reviews. You know how that went.
I've seen the show, and I was like, okay, I get what they're going for, but they clearly missed it. But the thing about by the way, Tevya, I answered this earlier today. He wants to know, why does Gotham Knights get to survive? Because here's the difference. Because Gotham Knights is done via CW exclusively, but they have like, what was it? They have a license to do that project. Now,
yeah, it's not directly being funded or made by Warner Brothers. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah, so what happens is that as long as CW is able to pay for the license, they can do whatever they want. So it's a different situation than Titans. James Gunn has direct control over what happens at Warner Brothers that has the DC logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much as I really wish that show would get the boot and then a flamethrower, but that's about what all I could say about that one.
I will say I am actually really looking forward to Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The more I see that movie, the more it looks good.
I spotted Wonder Woman in that trailer. Just saying.
Okay, so I realize, like in like this in our private chat, I was a little bit racy to you. I do apologize. I did kind of go back and look at it. Yeah, that does kind of look like Wonder Woman's shoulder
from the back for a second. Because here's the thing: it took me a couple of views of it, so I'm like, was that her? And then I looked at it, and I looked at like the images of her back. I know I'm that much of a sleuth, and I'm like, okay, it could be any number of female characters, but with the rumors that Gal is showing up in Shazam and the fact that it fits that Wonder Woman would at least do a cameo in a movie called Fear of the Gods, I choose to believe until I'm proved otherwise that that's Wonder Woman. So I'm like, but the question is it going to be like a Cavill with the neck? Are we actually going to see Gadot, or is it going to be like shadows or like neck down?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Gal is more of a team player, so okay, that's a little bit cruel, but like I'm sure Gal would be more amenable to do something like that. And plus, like as far as Wonder Woman being there in the first place, it's kind of like stuff about Greek gods and whatnot. So from a story perspective, it would make sense that he would seek advice from her.
Yeah. I'm not saying she'll play a massive role. I'm not saying she's going to be like, it's going to be a buddy cop movie. I'm just saying she'll make she'll probably show up for one scene, explain what happens with the daughter of Atlas, and that's it. Then we'll go. That's it.
What's your take on the whole situation, Xeviuss?
I really hope Gal does. Like, I mean, yeah, she's a pretty girl, but I think she's adorable. And I mean, I loved Wonder Woman, and the 1984 was one of the biggest disappointments of last year.
Thank you.
The less we talk about that, the better.
Okay.
We like to pretend that movie doesn't exist.
The first movie is amazing.
So yeah, that trailer dropped yesterday? I think I saw it. Yesterday. And then when is that coming out?
March. Yeah, I think March.
Okay.
Because it's labeled as the final trailer.
Gotcha. I could I know some people at the CW. Again, one of my buddies. He directed
again.
Yeah, I know it's weird, but a guy named Nick Kopus. He directed the pilot for Arrow. This is 8 years ago, and then he directed. He executive produced and directed most of the first 2 seasons, which were the good ones.
The good ones, exactly. I was about to say that he must know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Could you maybe do us a favor and ask him if he could appear on Comics League? Because I'm sure me and Jared would love to pick his brain.
Okay, yeah. Like we're working. I can't talk about it, but we're working on a film, and I've got an NDA on that. And then there's another one I'm working on with Robert Meyer Burnett, which I have an NDA on.
Oh, geez. Again, you're the most connected person I've ever had on the show.
Okay. Have you worked with Greg Berlanti?
No.
Oh, wow. I thought like you knew the Arrow guy. I thought you would have at least like met him or something.
No. No, I haven't dealt with Berlanti. So that's that.
Well, if you could ask your friend if he could like to appear on the show, we'd appreciate that.
I could try.
That's how we ask.
All of the cliches, like if you guys like back in the day watching Entourage, all of the things you think about movie producers and directors, it's all true. These guys.
Oh, really?
100%. Like I was talking to Nick Kopus, and we
different Nick, not this Nick.
Yeah, not you. And Nick's like, hey man, so I just got the one of 4 convertible Porsche something, but it's electric. And he lives in I forget what neighborhood. It's the cliche, and he's got assistants, and he's got a housekeeper, and he's got this spoiled smoke show wife. It's and yeah, it's hard to pin him down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But we do this thing every so often, and we'll both open a bottle of red wine and just stay on Zoom until it's done.
Oh wow, that's a good time.
I'm sure things get crazier as the call goes on.
Yeah,
right.
It would be cool if Wonder Woman BVS the Shazam sequel and one. In other words, if she came in at the last second and saved him, that'd be it. That'd be kind of funny. I don't think they would do that, but that'd be hilarious.
Xeviuss, I got a question. I got an Arrow related question for you. So obviously the popular consensus is that season 1 and 2 are like the best seasons, and then after that it kind of took like a sharp downturn. Do you have any reasons why that may have happened? Like, do you have any like insight you might want to give us on that?
I don't have anything really clever to say in response to that. Just that this is all 6 years ago, and I loved the first 2. I watched them real time, the first 2 seasons, and then as we got to the third, I just kind of wandered off and just started watching something else. So I can't really.
I literally just answered this like 5 minutes ago. And by the way, according to leaks, she's a major supporting character. Okay, I'm not gonna believe leaks, but hey, I would love it if it's a Wonder Woman Shazam buddy movie. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way,
Yeah.
I will say I agree with Xeviuss. I love Gal Gadot. It's kind of funny. I was watching like the previous Fast and the Furious movies where she first showed up and when she died. It is so weird because you see her in those movies, her accent is much more thick. And you kind of tell, yeah, before she went to Wonder Woman, she definitely got some worked on the accent and their acting skills. She's way better as Wonder Woman.
Yep. So do you guys remember when the first Wonder Woman came out? There were rumors going around that she couldn't shake her accent, so that instead all the other actors around her,
Yeah, I heard that.
the women,
Mm-hmm.
that they actually just emulated her accent to a degree, so it all just
It makes sense though, because they're in Greece. That they're in ostensibly a island near or around Greece. It makes sense.
It's really crazy that all these Greeks somehow have like slightly different Israeli accents, and it is so crazy.
That's so crazy.
It's good.
Yeah,
I mean, if you actually watch the movies, all of them do kind of speak with like a kind of slight Israeli accent. So it's like, yeah, I can imagine that.
I like it. I'm not opposed to it because I think Wonder Woman should have an accent because it only makes sense for where she is. But so let's talk about the MCU. So Kevin Feige made a couple of interesting statements recently with the MCU. So number one, what he said is that we have to make sure we put entertainment first before any type of messaging, because if the show's not entertaining, the audience is going to close off to the message. And I'm like, is this all a reaction to Phase 4?
I mean, well, for me, my first thought is like, yeah, they're starting to feel the money pinch, because like he wouldn't say this, like, and I kind of feel like this is kind of like a general thing, or like it's kind of a general movement that's been going where, a lot of like this activist stuff is not really paying the bills, and people are like, look at the reaction to the OGL. Like Wizards was not expecting that kind of reaction. That's kind of a bit of a tangent, and I don't know. Sorry, I kind of ran out of steam. Xeviuss, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was sorry. I was waiting for you to finish there. So,
yeah, I'm tired, so it's like my brain's a little frazzled.
Yeah. So, what do you think they're going to dial it back with the messaging? Because
I think so.
Yeah.
At least some stuff is going to be dialed back. Captain Marvel is going to be like the biggest like woke fest movie because that's just what Captain Marvel's identity in the MCU is.
Yeah.
But as the stuff that they can like change or control, yeah, because from what I heard, they're looking back. They're like sincerely reevaluating a lot of of the upcoming phases, because Phase 4 was a dud and a half.
Like, I'll be honest with you, I have no interest in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That's
like
fine.
Once I saw MODOK and how ridiculous it looked, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, I was like, why would you bring in MODOK into the MCU? That's one of the characters that I think doesn't translate well.
Like, I don't mind Alan Cross being MODOK. I mean, that's, kind of bring him back, sure, but like, it looked really bad CGI. Like, it looked
that's just
really
the MCU
bad.
recently. Have you seen She-Hulk?
I have avoided it because I don't hate watch.
Well, have you seen the trailer for She-Hulk?
I've seen clips.
It doesn't get any better than that. It does not.
It's like, what was this rendered on? A PS2?
Yeah, probably. And Brown Destroyer says, Kevin Feige said a few years ago that the MCU Phase 4 should be all about female superheroes and less male superheroes, so it's kind of expected. I'm surprised that people still followed MCU Phase 4. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there were some good things. Like, actually, like I saw like kind of like first episode of Ms. Marvel. It actually wasn't that
Ms.
bad.
Marvel was actually not that bad. Ms. Marvel,
and I genuinely did enjoy Hawkeye.
Yes, Hawkeye, parts of Falcon Winter Soldier. Ms. Marvel surprised the hell out of me, and I enjoyed Black Panther 2 more than the first one. But besides that, it was like it's nothing. It feels kind of like they're alienating audiences. Yeah, because let me put it this way: instead of they're doing all new, all different, but in the movies, and we all know what happened to all new, all different. That's when DC sales outshone Marvel, because DC was like, Rebirth, back to what you want, and Marvel's like, no, you'll take what we want you to take. So I'm like, guys, this didn't work in the past. It's not going to work now. I don't know how many different ways I could tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like Yolanda, like as a replacement for Black Widow. I'm actually on board for that. Because,
Yolanda? You mean Yelena?
sorry, remember brain frazzle.
It's all right.
I feel like the actress is like really entertaining, and we've had some kind of time to warm up to her, and I actually really like her.
Love her.
So as a Black Widow replacement, I'm actually fine with it.
She came out of a crappy movie, but that's just the MCU nowadays. But what I do think that they're gonna like push, but that if they don't, these movies are gonna keep doing less and less and less better. Because remember, the MCU high point. Remember the days of Infinity War and Endgame when like everyone was like, "These are amazing." And then it comes out and it's like,
Farm remembers.
Yeah. Werewolf by Night and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special were the best part.
The Holiday Special was surprisingly good.
Holiday Special was so good. Black Adam was a better movie than Black Panther 2, yet Black Adam flopped and Black Panther made some money. Okay, I could kind of see that. As a DC fan, I'll automatically say anything's better than Marvel, but except for Justice League, that's worse than like.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, I know, but I haven't seen Werewolf by Night yet, but I've heard it's good. Yeah. So, in terms of the MCU, what do you guys think? I'll start with Xeviuss. Do you think that they're going to start to like walk back a lot of the stuff because it's not working?
I don't know. Like we've all been hoping that for a good 3-4 years now, and they just keep stepping further into it.
Yeah.
I don't even talk about the comics. I mean, that's just
that's a lost cause right there.
Yeah, that's just done.
Joker, anyone?
Yeah, well, it's
or
true.
Like anything that's happened with the X-Men.
Yeah.
Get them off the island, please.
When you look at that, by the way, Hickman came in, and you remember how popular Hawks and Pox was, and everyone was like, "This is so cool! We're gonna have a new story for the X-Men," and then that island orgies on Zion, and I'm like,
yeah,
because
gosh, I remember when Hickman starting his run, there was actually a genuine buzz. Like there was actually like, oh crap, X-Men's back! Like they're actually doing good X-Men's. Like I remember there was kind of a bit of a groundswell forming around the X-Men stories. Like I remember like people were directly talking about it, and then just silence.
Yeah, silence. It started so it was good around the middle of Dawn of X, but then the rest of it was just like, okay, so they had an event called Ten of Swords, which was supposed to be like a gladiatorial combat thing with swords, and no one uses swords at any point in the movie. The swords are just keys.
What?
Because the X-Men office, I know. But that's your point, is that Marvel Comics is like a lost cause, I feel like. I mean, I want to be optimistic, but from what I've seen with Marvel Comics, it's not doing so well. They keep also putting people on Captain America that clearly don't like the character or
now
America.
Mad. We missed out the opportunity to see Nightcrawler with sabers again.
Yeah, I know. It's so stupid. And it's not going to happen because ESG and Disney Corporate and BlackRock funding all the major corporations as UDAs shareholders. It's true. That's another point there. I mean, no, I feel like eventually they'll be like, okay, this isn't working at this point, so let's just undo it. Yes, thank you, David. The comics are lost cause.
The important thing to realize is Disney is kind of in a very weird place right now. They're kind of playing musical chairs. They're CEOs. They're firing people. You got to remember the FTX scandal is really hitting them hard.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The whole Bob Chapek, correct me if I'm wrong in this, Xeviuss, but like, wasn't Bob Chapek literally kind of ousted because of the whole the FTX scandal, or as a result of it, or something?
I actually am not as familiar with that. The FTX scandal is what?
That's the crypto thing, like that 20-year-old where like it was like a crypto thing where like a lot of companies were putting their money through it, like Diane
people
Feinstein,
lost a lot of money.
One of our U.S. Congress people was like really involved with it. Like FTX is like really embedded in like a lot of the establishment stuff, and Disney was like, this is like a crypto thing, and it was just teenagers, and then like there's these people like Alameda Research. I'm doing a very bad job summarizing this, but like it all kind of went belly up, and it was kind of just a terrible mess.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're talking about, but there's like me put this way, with Disney's a loose cannon, and with a lot of stuff that they've been doing, a lot of decisions they've been making. So I don't know. I like to keep optimistic. That's the thing. Oh yeah, the world's youngest billionaire. But
yeah, I mean Warner Brothers is not really much better because like Zaslav, he's been making a lot of very bold moves, and it's gonna be a few years to see how they pan out.
Well, here's the thing. Also, with Zaslav, he canceled a lot of woke stuff. Like if you've seen any information on Batgirl, it was like, yeah,
did you see that costume? Like,
have you seen her run? Have you seen her run?
Yep.
Yeah, it's. I'm
Tom
like,
Cruise. Tom Cruise needs to give her some lessons.
Yes, exactly. Sure. And I'm just like, and that's the thing. He's willing to make all these decisions to the point where people accuse him of being a Trump supporter, and I'm like, he voted for Democrats, so I don't know what you're doing there. But it's like, that's my point. More and more CEOs are starting to see, oh, what Zaslav's doing is working, assuming he doesn't sell Warner Brothers to someone else.
I wouldn't say what Zaslav is doing is working per se, because one, it hasn't had enough time to pan out, and also you got to remember he still allowed Velma to come to fruition.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's a bad thing. And then Zaslav isn't about ESG. He's all about the money. He is different than Disney. That's true. Zaslav wants zero political statements, just profit and solid stories. Yeah. So,
well, I you say that, but then I got to bring up again, he allowed Velma to come out. So it's like, I don't know. I'm maybe being hyperbolic with that.
Well, here's the thing about Zaslav,
where it was very obvious that film would not make any money, and he just wanted to like cut it off and save them like the marketing budget and whatnot. Whereas Velma was like probably would have made some money. I don't know. I'm trying to rationalize here.
I think.
Have you guys seen Velma?
No.
Any of it?
I chose not to.
Yeah, I don't hate watch.
Yeah, ditto. I'm like, nope, not for me.
Yeah, but the thing about Zaslav and Nick allowing Velma to go through is, but what you have to, there's one point I will say about Zaslav is that once he puts people in charge, he's very hands off. Hence, which is why he's very hands off with like the DC stuff. So it could be he just put someone in charge and says, "Hey, make content."
See, this is why, like, when people are ragging on James Gunn, my thing is like he hasn't even had a chance to do anything yet. Like, at least
announce the slate and then we can start judging. Because if it sucks,
do I have some trepidation about what he's doing? Yes, but I at least want to give him a chance to like do something before I start calling for his head.
Now, to be clear, if he releases his slate and it sucks, we're gonna definitely be ragging on him. But I'm just like, it's interesting. What do you think about the whole James Gunn thing, Xeviuss?
Where are we at?
About him running DC and all that.
He's a really competent guy, and I know some people who know Gunn and have worked with him.
Again.
Well, no.
Okay. What do they say?
That he's a really good dude. Like, you know, he got smeared pretty bad about 5 years ago, and
for being a pedophile or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
And at the time, I wasn't as tapped in. I wasn't on Twitter actually till about 3 years ago.
Yeah, because like apparently he was having like diaper part. Like, here's
apparently he was sued for having like a pedophile theme like costume party or something like that.
Yeah.
Is it creepy? Yes. Were they all consenting adults? I'm assuming so. Yes.
Were they all adults? That's the key thing. Were they all adults?
Yeah.
Like, is it creepy? Yeah. But as long as they're all consenting adults, I don't care. Like, it's weird. It's creepy. But if they're all consenting adults, let's not, we
don't want to know that. Back. But and also here's the thing: when Gunn had that whole, when Gunn was fired from Marvel for his tweets that came out, he was very clear that's not me anymore. So until I see anything new or anything like that, I'm not gonna like start smearing people because that gets into the territory of the people that smeared Snyder for no reason. So I'm just like, you know what? Show me what you got, dude.
Yeah.
No, Gunn is exceptionally talented. He's a really, really good guy. And those tweets were 12 plus years ago. So I love a good redemption story. You know, like a good one is you guys probably follow like Andy Signor.
Oh my God, yes.
I follow. I know who he is, and I know what's going on with
I'm
him.
really glad. I'm like, that's another one of the good things that came out of the Amber Heard trial is his redemption.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I've done some work for Andy Sidor, and I remember when they decided to roast him over pretty much nothing, and then he got fired. And I was in sort of a phase where like I would check in with Honest Trailers, and I forget the company he founded, but they fired him and went dark. The website went dark for like 4 or 5 days. I was like, shit, this is a big deal. And he lost.
Yeah, like he was cheating on his wife, but even he admitted to it. Like he took responsibility for that portion. So and a lot of it was like he was getting like there's kind of like he was basically hooking up with fans, which some people kind of view as a little weird. As long as they're of age, it's whatever. But like but yeah.
Yeah,
Party
like,
was
sure.
for his friend Jameer from the band Mindless Self-Indulgence, who's currently facing pedophile allegations, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about these newer rock stars. Less we talk about lost profits, the better.
Yeah, but the thing about James Gunn is that all I've heard. Let me put it this way: we've seen his product when it comes to like Guardians of the Galaxy. Granted, his DC stuff has yet to like financially like explode. But the dude knows DC Comics. I will give the man.
And remember,
that.
He did work with what film did he work with Zack Snyder on?
Dawn of the Dead, and he has been like 100. He is the first person brothers who has come out and said, "Okay, there's a vocal minority in the Snyder group that are toxic, but the rest of them are very nice."
Also, if anyone could do another Scooby-Doo show, it's literally the man who wrote the best live action movie.
And then David Hernandez says, "I don't think he can have plans past Superman if it has to be good or he's gone." That's what I think. I think that this Superman movie is going to be the deciding factor for him. If it explodes and does really well and is a great movie, he'll be fine. He'll have his plan. But if that movie bombs and it's not liked by the fans, guess what? Gunn's gone. Or he won't have as much creative control as he used to.
See, so that's phase 6 technically, right? Or am I?
I have no idea what's going on with DC.
Yeah, DC doesn't really do phases. They do you can act they do eras based off of the producers. Like whoever's running, like you got the Jeff Johns era, you got the Walter Hamada era. Now we're in the Gunn era.
Yeah, but he did say that what he's gonna he's on chapter 1 now of DC. So it's like phase 1. So we'll see if it can survive past phase 1.
Yeah, that's where a lot of I will say the kind of the problem with DC is like they don't Warner Brothers is they don't give their studio heads kind of time to let their plans go through. It's like the first they bring in someone and then the first flop they're gone. I do feel like Jeff Johns was kind of like he was actually kind of onto something because remember Aquaman what is a Jeff Johns movie
and because it's based on Jeff Johns' book.
Like I do feel like there was kind of like that moment, after like the dust has settled from the Snyder stuff, where like Aquaman came out and it's like
it's a PK.
We was like okay, and like Shazam was like kind of okay. Where it's like okay, we might actually be doing like it felt like they're kind of starting to come together. And then they fired Jeff Johns, and basically Walter Hamada just sunk the ship.
Yeah, Hamada's gonna Hamada, but it's like because here's the thing: DC has given me no indication that they are capable of completing a story. They can start a story fine, they just can't complete it because they started with Snyder and Man of Steel, and then they ended it in movie 2 and said nope. Going away from this because some vocal minority people were upset, and we get it that this movie almost made $1 billion. And by the way, watch Brightburn. I watched Brightburn. It's really good. Yep. It's basically what if Superman came here, but he was sent here to kill all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like even though the whole evil Superman trope is a bit played out now, back when it came out, it was still pretty fresh. So kind of give it some credit.
That's why I don't think he's gonna make everything like very very infantile humor and like let me put this way. Lobo, I guarantee you, is going to have that humor because it fits the character. Superman, yeah, there's going to be some jokes in it, but it's not going to be like it's not going to be any Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think.
See, here's the thing about James Gunn. While he has preferences and while he does have a certain style that he tends to gravitate towards, the dude has range when he wants to. Like he can act like look at the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. You know, that is surprisingly heartwarming. Like the dude can actually do like heartwarming stuff when he wants to. James Gunn's problem is he tends to prefer the crass and the F word and everything. You know, like that's where he's comfortable, but he's capable of doing actually really heartwarming stuff.
He can do it, and I think that it could be. See, what people are upset. One of the things that people are upset about is that he got rid of like Cavill, and that was a heartbreaking moment for us.
Which I think we can all agree is kind of a controversial decision.
And then, and then what he just, and then the same tweet thread. I said this to Nerdette today. I was like, okay, it was a bad look for in the same tweet thread to announce, okay, so Cavill's not gonna be Superman anymore. I'm writing my own Superman movie right here.
See, here's my problem. I would actually be okay with them firing Superman if the whole idea was we're going to burn everything to the ground. We're going to go scorched earth on this thing. And we're going to just start fresh. We're going to just reboot everything, just, clean slate everything. Like, I'd be fine with that. Like you want to just start fresh because, like, admittedly, the DC currently is really big of a mess. But the problem is he's very vague. Now, granted, a lot of that is because Aquaman and Flash and Shazam is coming out, so I feel like we're kind of in a bit of a weird kind of holding pattern where it's like
I think we're in
they're obviously not going to announce, before that. So, I mean, check back in a year. I could be totally wrong. It could,
I think.
But if he's just going to keep Gal or double cast Jason Momoa, like if he just scorches everything and they get a different person for Aquaman and recast him as Lobo, I'm perfectly fine. I'm not sure double casting would be a good idea, but yeah, Jason Momoa.
It's not like Lobo and Aquaman interact a lot in the comics, so it's not like it's going to be that much of an issue.
To me, it's I kind of think it's general audiences, and there would be some confusion. Same thing where it's like you're doing a new Superman movie where any young Superman movie is obviously going to conflict with the current continuity. So basically, what I think they're going to try and do is just do like, oh, it's a new continuity and these actors are the same, but their pasts are different, which is going to cause people some confusion.
And plus, I have a theory that he is going to bring Cavill back as Superman. What he's doing is he's using the early Superman movies as a temporary measure to sort of retcon out like a lot of controversial stuff from Man of Steel and make it so Superman's past is more amiable, and then he's going to bring Cavill back.
Well, the problem I see with that is he's going to do that with Wonder Woman because if he's probably going to bring Gal, they're just going to like Flash pointed away and they're just going to say, oh, this didn't happen. Well, I will say if he Flash points away 1984, I will actually be happy.
Well, here's the thing, because Wonder Woman's past, short of 1984, was liked. In other words, what I think he's going to do, he's going to use Flashpoint and keep what works. That's what in fact, I'm taking him at his word, but that's what he said he was going to do. And that's why I think he's going to use. I don't think the Superman movie is going to take place in like the modern day. I think it's going to take place distantly in the past, and then reestablish a lot of Superman stuff and like say, okay, yeah, go ahead.
What if they do how some people on Twitter were talking about, like, what if they did a Justice Society set in the 50s with Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, and like they could have certain characters, like they could have Alan Scott, Green Lantern, Jay Garrick, Flash,
Dr. Fate,
Superman in there, not Batman, like not to have Batman in there, but like have a lot of the Justice Society characters, and some of the characters, like, because we know Batman has slowed aging, so it's like you want to have a young Superman in the 50s, and then in modern day he's still alive. I mean, you could probably do that.
You could probably do that. What do you think, Xeviuss?
That'd be fun.
Justice League New Frontier.
Yeah.
There's no reason why he can't use Cavill eventually. Maybe even to do a Kingdom Come movie directed by Zack Snyder. That's what I want. If there's one DC story that man can do really well, it's either Dark Knight Returns or Kingdom Come.
I really hope that when they do the movie poster for Kingdom Come, they get Alex Ross to do the movie poster.
They recreate that iconic shot of Superman over the table, but it's all the actors in their suits.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
I would love that. Yeah. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Xeviuss.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Ross would be, and especially with that 50s vibe, because if you look at Alex's work, there's a lot of deco influence to it, which is, I mean, that's that's mid 30s to 40s, but still, if you're going back to that, certainly as a Gotham or New York style kind of thing.
Have you seen some of his work where he does like Silver Age Spider-Man, where it's like a Ditko Ramita kind of? Actually, it's more of a Ramita Spider-Man. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, by the way, did any of you guys read that Fantastic Four book he did, Full Circle?
Nope.
No.
It's basically a Fantastic Four book that he wrote and drew, and it's gorgeous. He captures a lot of like the cosmic and very like the very like fantastical moments of the team, and I'm like, that's so good. They have this great moment where Reed and Sue walk into like a room and everything like that, and Sue is invisible, like completely invisible. So Johnny's like, why are you completely invisible? Oh, gross.
So I've kind of said this, like I've been saying this for years, but like speaking of Fantastic Four, I have like this pitch idea for like a really great Fantastic Four origin movie.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's set in the 60s, okay? And this is in the MCU, by the way. So basically, the Fantastic Four movie takes place in the 60s, all right? And basically, Peggy Carter's there because, you know, he would be alive. She's kind of like the shield contact point. And they face Doctor Doom, and it's basically a very 60s adventure. But at the end, because like they're trying to board a rocket, you know, and they get the cosmic rays. They get the rocket to do it again, but this time they actually go off into space and it's wrong, so their cryostasis activates.
Oh, and that's a good idea.
Okay, and so the next Guardians of the Galaxy 3, okay, the post-credit scene is they find this very 60s looking rocket, okay, and they enter it. And you see 4 cryo tubes, all right? And then they wipe away the frost, and you see the Fantastic Four logo cut to black.
Dude,
yeah,
dude, that is an excellent idea.
Yeah, get on that pitch, man.
Because like it just feels right, because I feel like setting in the 60s is Fantastic Four. It lets you do that Fantastic Four thing, and then of course, you know, freezing them, kind of doing a capsicle kind of thing. It works for Fantastic Four. Like, it's kind of an idea that works for them.
Yeah.
And it's just, it allows you to have that 60th adventure, do their origin story, and then bring them to modern day.
Yeah, nice. that is actually way better than I could have come up with. Nice. Instead of just having them like, oh, they've always been around, and like we just never reference them, because that's another problem with Phase 4 is that it's like the Eternals. We have these god tier level characters that could have helped with Thanos, but they didn't do anything.
See, the question that I have is kind of like, how are they going to integrate mutants in the universe? Because technically, they got Ms. Marvel being the first mutant. I guarantee you, they're gonna retcon Wanda into being a mutant. I mean, I guarantee you.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. The reason why Ms. Marvel being a mutant is actually really funny to me is because remember the time period when the Inhumans were supposed to replace the X-Men because Marvel couldn't do anything with the X-Men for movies?
Yeah, that's why they made her an Inhuman, because it was during that time. Like, I guarantee you, if it was made during any other time, she would have been a mutant.
Inhuman. But that's why I think it's hilarious, because now everything's reversed. Everyone wants to forget the Inhumans ever existed because of that terrible show. But yeah. But yeah, that's a great idea, Nick, for a Fantastic Four show. That's great. And then they should have just let Snyder have freedom from the start. We would have fixed a lot of problems. That's what Zaslav looks like he's going to do, is giving James Gunn, listen, do what you have to do. As long as you like have the Trinity and the Justice League as the forefront, you're good. And another point in James Gunn's favor, he did say he is working closely with Jim Lee to make sure the comics reflect the movies. I mean, the movies reflect the comics. So I'm like, about damn time.
See, this is kind of like, history will show that like one of the big reasons why comics are having a hard time is for 10 years, and this is like on the Marvel side, really.
Yeah.
For 10 years, like in the 2010s, the MCU was the hottest thing in town. And you over and over again, you had people go into comic shop, be like, I want to read about Tony Stark. I like Iron Man. Oh, Iron Man is dead. Here's Riri Williams. Oh, I like the Hulk. Oh no, see, you don't want to read about Bruce Banner. Here's Amadeus Cho. So on and so forth. Like they literally went through all that trouble to make Nick Fury black in the comics. They went through that whole thing, which fine. Like okay, you wanted to reflect it, sure, but then like
Well, here's the thing, though. The MCU is pretty much the Ultimate Universe. A lot of their stuff is taken from the Ultimate. That's why, like, the Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury thing makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, Fantastic Four, the good one from 2005 is literally an Ultimate Fantastic Four movie. And a lot of the early MCU was lifted from the Ultimate Universe.
Like Iron Man, but that's like they don't want to have like, okay, Iron Man has a brain tumor, but it's like, yeah, that's why, because when you think about it, Nick and Xeviuss, they had the greatest marketing tool known to man. These juggernaut movies are making billions of dollars that everyone was going to see. They could have done more to make sure the movies reflected the comics and also plug their local comic shops. But did Marvel do that? No.
I know a lot of people say that, but like my response is a rebuttal, but also a solution at the same time. Like having like hey, here's local shops. That's really logistically infeasible. The alternative is they could develop an app, say like find me a local comic shop app, where it basically then you have that, or it's like download this app to find your local comic shop, and you can put that in the end of the movie, and that's easy. Versus like, this zip code, it's like, because you gotta match it for like what's the mile radius of like this. It's just basically every movie theater has like a different thing at the end, and it's just like
what I will say though, at the end of the Shazam trailer, and same thing with Black Adam, they had like a thing that would pop up and say, if read about the character and stories in these comic books. So they're actually starting to plug the comic books more. So I'm like,
yeah, that works too.
Thank you. You should. That's why I think a graphic should come up post credit scene, because I know people are going to stay for the post credit. A graphic comes up and advertises the app. Actually, first it advertises if you wanted to know more about these characters, read these books, and then go to this app to find your local comic shop. There you go.
Well, what you do is you kind of like in the crawl, right before the last end credit scene. That's kind of when you put it, and then you do the end credits.
Yeah, that works. What do you think, Xeviuss?
This is just reminding me that there's a comic book store. Like I'm in a big city, and there's a bunch, but there's one that I started going to, and I was thinking about them. I was feeling nostalgic 10 minutes ago. That's where I would go once a week to pick up Lobo as they were coming out when I'm in college, and I have every Lobo bag boarded, doubles.
Yeah,
I don't have a.
So how do you have the New 52 run?
No.
You had to bring that up, Nick. Yeah,
he was talking about all the Lobos. I had to.
Yeah, okay. But no, so about a year ago, I hadn't gone to the place I used to go back in college for a long time. And the owner, we've got mutual friends. So, I've known the guy for 20 years, right? And he's like just slouched over the desk and just chilling. A guy named Ben Faulkner, Phoenix Comics. Oh yeah, Phoenix Comics, right there, Nick. And so I walked in. I was like, "Hey, Ben, how's it going?" He's like, "I'm good, man." I'm like, "So what's good?" And he didn't really move. He's just like, he's this aging punk rocker guy, whatever. But he's like, "Nothing, man." I'm like, "What do you mean nothing?" He's like, "Nothing." And he pointed me at some anthologies, and I picked up some stuff, and I got a best of DC bundle. Picked up like, those $1 ones that came out. I bought about maybe 20 of them. But he's like new stuff. He's like, there's nothing good that's new. That was
a lot of stores have stopped selling new comics because the quality just hasn't been there, and they're all shelf books now.
Yeah, and like basically Marvel and DC have been screwing over shop owners for like. I know there's kind of a stereotype of comic shop owners being like bitter and all and constantly complaining, but like when you realize kind of the crap they go through,
they have a reason to be bitter.
Can you blame them?
Can you blame them?
No, not at all.
It's really dumb. It's just like Oh yeah, and Comixology looks like it's going down for the count. It's like we're losing a lot of stuff, which it doesn't really affect me that much because I didn't really I read all my stuff as an actual book. But the thing is that a lot of people depend on Comixology, and what are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's certainly sites that are trying to fill the void. Like I'm a big stand for Global Comics. I think they're really good, but they're still relatively small time. They're nowhere near Comixology range. I mean, there's honestly really nothing to that level of that kind of market penetration that Comixology has.
I think we can assume that somebody's gonna pop up very quick to fill the void.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people are trying for sure.
People are trying. It's just you need the infrastructure. That's what you really need in order to like support the mass volume that you would get if you started doing digital comics.
They need two things. They need ubiquity and they need convenience.
Yeah.
Because people are willing to adopt a one-stop shop digital comic book app again. They're more than willing to, but it needs to be that one-stop shop and it needs to be convenient. Because say what you will about Comixology, they did a lot for streamlining the digital comic book process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when Amazon bought them, they did the opposite.
Well, that's
Yeah, imagine having everyone stuck in their houses for a year straight and not digitizing your entire library. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But so now that's actually a good transition to our next topic. We're talking about how do you know something's entertainment or trash, and there's like lots of stuff that would qualify.
There's a really easy way. Does it have the Disney logo on it? Because if it does, then it goes straight in the bin.
Does it have Disney next to Star Wars? Does it say like The Last Jedi?
I will say Andor is actually really good.
I was just about to interrupt you there. Yeah, it's so hit and miss. Like I'm 501st Legion. I've got a full mounted stormtrooper right beside me.
Nice.
I'm in too deep. I've got every Lego set ever on the shelf.
I love Star Wars so much.
So I went in. So now I was doing a bit of a YouTube show with some friends 3 years ago when Mandalorian was just about to happen, and I went in, and and then they didn't show his face. And I'm like, they're gonna make it a chick. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do whatever. And then I got sucked into it. So basically, I was expecting because I had to do a review, after episode 1, season 1. I was expecting to be trashing it. So I, stayed up all night, did that, got some notes together. And when we went on, I was just like, this is brilliant. I love it. And so all of season 1 of Mandalorian is great. Yeah. And then you got to wait 6 months for the next series, and then you wait for the next one. So I always go in with totally open. I'm open to it. And Obi-Wan was a disaster. I hated it. That's all I have to say.
Book of Boba Fett was mad. The best part for literally Mandalorian season 2.5
is literally that. That's what it is.
Yeah, and that's what they did. They actually took, or as far as I'm told, they actually took stuff from what they were going to do for Mandalorian because they had to rejigger everything because they fired Gina, right? So,
yeah, because they're going to do Rangers of the New Republic.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, by the way, Gina, who I put her in my last music video, and I talked to her. So
nice.
I'll show you guys that sometime.
Another kid. Jeez, we bow down.
Is she really as much of a sweetheart as we all think she is?
She is the sweetest because like she follows me on Twitter, right? And I was working on this music video for Zuby, who you guys might follow him on Twitter. And so it's an animated video. It took me about 6 months, but I wanted to do a cameo because there's a rap in it by this guy named Mac Lethal. He's on the Ellen Show. He's the world's fastest rapper. And he's like, something like a Mandalorian and a Mandalorian. So I did the Mandalorian from Back to the Future. And then he stops at a light. And then Gina Carano walks across the street and winks at him. And he blushes. So, anyway, so
I blushed too if you winked at me.
So I sent her, I DM'd her thinking, who knows, right? She's got like 1 million followers. And she got back to me like 4 hours later. She's like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't checking my DMs. And I told her the pitch, and she's like, go for it. You didn't even have to ask me. So anyway, yes, Gina's a sweetheart. Loved her. Mandalorian 3. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, so Boba Fett sucked. Obi-Wan sucked. And then Andor was slow, but I adored it. I absolutely love that
It's
series.
really good.
I think
It's
the slow
really good.
burn actually helped the show. I'm still going through it. Like basically, me and my best friend, he has like this amazing TV setup, like 4K Ultra HD surround sound, OLED TV and all that stuff. So we've kind of been watching it piecemeal.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the slow burn actually helps the show.
It works really well.
It did. Like we were getting into, what was there, 12 episodes of that total?
Yeah, about 12,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
So it was around episode 8 when it started getting really, really tense. And I spent the next month going like, I don't want this to end. Like I would, the episode would end and I'd go back and I'd watch it again. Be like, I want
last shot, dude. That last shot.
Don't spoil it, please. Don't spoil it.
I'm just gonna say when that last shot happens, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dude, I just shivered. I get a little visceral to good writing, and I was just like, oh my god, that was just PG-13. That was darn amazing.
Yeah.
Like
the only thing real quick, Nick, that I will say to that is this.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Wait,
There you go.
but this is set pre Star Wars, but pre New Hope though.
Yeah, it's a pre New Hope.
I mean, Yaren was alive, but like,
I was just making because I wanted to put that in there when we were talking about Mandalorian. It's just I never got a chance to. But yeah,
like, there's been good Star Wars, like Xeviuss. Have you played Fallen Order?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen Bad Batch?
You know what? The animated stuff is, it's just the way my brain works. It's it's the opposite of Andor. Like they blast by too quick, and by the time I get into it, it's ending. So
I will say Star Wars Visions, not all of them were good, but like some of them were like really amazing. Those like anime Star Wars stuff. Yeah, those are pretty good. But like I don't know, I'm not really into the Bad Batch. I never got into Clone Wars. It's just kind of a continuation of that.
I wonder if somebody's done. I've never looked for it, but to take some of the animated series and to do supercut, so I get to sit down for a couple hours and just watch them.
I'm sure.
I know there's somebody, like there's a fan cut of Obi-Wan that turns it into a movie. I'm sure it's a little bit more watchable then.
That's actually they edit out a lot of stuff. And by the way, JJheat just showed up. What's up, dude?
What's up? Sorry, fellas, I overslept.
And Nick, you want to introduce our guest to JJheat?
So JJheat, you know that copy of Screecher that you bought for me?
Yes.
This is the guy who did the cover.
Oh, nice to meet you, man. Big fan.
Hey, man. Likewise. Pleasure is mine.
So we're talking about how to differentiate entertainment from trash. We're talking about Star Wars, and it's basically anything that's not that doesn't have the names Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau is trash.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's 100% there, and I'm like, can't you just put Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, make them the James Gunn of Star Wars? That's it. That's all you need. That is all you need, and we will be happy.
I mean, Xeviuss kind of here to get so much to say about this, but like, I think it's pretty clear that like, after Indiana Jones comes out, Kathleen Kennedy is probably going to retire. Because,
that's the word.
Yeah.
And then probably Jon Favreau is probably going to take up after her. I think that's pretty clear. Either,
And Nick, because you said that, I have a clip for that. Because we were partying when that happened.
Also, I'm going to say this. I know that we get mad that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is getting all these roles, but just watch what happens after Indiana Jones comes out and it's going to flop. Her name, she's going to be ghosted by everyone.
Yeah,
That's true.
Know, because isn't she writing the Tomb Raider show for Amazon?
Oh,
where's Melanie
It's going to turn out well.
I'm not a fan. She's, leave that
Like,
there.
Melanie Mack had some choice words for her on that.
So I did enjoy the recent Tomb Raider games. I actually liked them. And the Tomb Raider movie they did, I thought was actually pretty decent. Like, it wasn't like earth-shattering, but I thought it was pretty decent. I think the actress was a good actress for the role. But yeah, I mean, Amazon, let's kind of talk about Amazon where like they're actually really hit and miss. Like, they do some of the best stuff, like Reacher, is really good. The Boys is hit and miss. Like, they have some of the best stuff and, like, the worst stuff. It's really weird.
I'm going to make a recommendation that is going to blow your mind. Watch the Terminal List on Amazon.
I'm hearing that.
What it's about is a Navy SEAL is so the government in an experiment gives a bunch of Navy SEALs brain tumors. To cover it up, they send them on a suicide operation.
What are we, some sort of Suicide Squad?
Yeah, SEAL comes back, and some stuff happens over on the at the home front, and he becomes the Punisher basically.
Ooh,
It's really good.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Plus, you also have on Amazon, you have like Invincible, which was pretty dope. You have The Boys, which is amazing, and
it has its really good moments. It has its highs, it has its lows. There's some stuff that's really cringe on The Boys.
Well, yeah, The Boys also has one of those moments where you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they got away with that."
I really like.
You probably
I gotta say,
go ahead.
They really tried hyping up Herogasm. And like they're like, oh, this is gonna be the most craziest thing ever, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy, but like it was barely.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Because I looked up a summary of what happens in the actual comics, and I look at the movie, and I'm like, that didn't that
it's
was
like
that
it's like the backdrop for like part of an episode.
Yeah, it's not even like anything like weird, because I thought it was gonna be straight up like it was in the comics, and I'm like, nope, not anything like that.
You know that Herogasm is going to get censored out. Come on, man.
No, they already did Herogasm in season.
Watch
3.
a bunch of sex spots happen show up in the chat, but
yeah,
and yes, it was Chris Pratt plays the lead in Terminal List, who would be a great Hal Jordan or Booster Gold. I could see him playing either of those roles. But but let me ask this to JJheat, since you just showed up. How do you differentiate between entertainment and trash?
Entertainment is something you can, in my opinion, is something you can actually engage with, rather than something you blatantly get hate watched or baited to consume just so you can talk about how bad it is. If you're entertained by something, like you're able to turn your brain off, you're able to analyze, you're able to enjoy, have a good experience. If something is trash, it's just like, what's that clip from Red Letter? It's next product. Just consume and get ready for next product.
Mm-hmm. It's like we're on essentially a buffet table, but it's a really
get hyped for product, consume product, and then get hyped for next product.
That's basically the MCU fandom in one word. What about you, Xeviuss? How do you differentiate between entertainment and trash?
Besides the way that was just articulated, to me, it's again, it goes back to, I think, the best example of it being the Star Wars stuff, and I think it's I guess it takes sort of thoughtful consideration when you sort of go in open-minded, and I don't know, it's really hard to see from the outside, and it's very subjective too.
Yeah, that's true, because there are plenty of movies that I've seen. Like, I'm convinced that the Green Lantern movie is very underrated. It's not the best movie, but it's like not as horrible as people make it out to be.
Yeah,
but here's the trick to it. It is like I went and saw Avatar for the second time in Atmos, IMAX, the whole just.
So you're the reason why it made $1 billion.
No, only
$2 billion now.
Yep, and it's like it's not great, but it's entertaining, if that makes sense. Like the story is. It's the same story as last time. We're going to get 4 more of these things, but I will be there opening night for the spectacle. No question. So
it's a social requirement at this point to see Avatar movies.
I haven't seen Avatar.
That's a great point, because you're not being preached to. There is an environmental message, but they're not beating you over the head with it.
Yep.
That's why
I know some people are cool with Avatar, and that's fine. It's just, for me, it's like, I saw the first film, and I never really connected with it. Yeah. I have no interest in seeing it. If other people love it, cool,
Yeah.
But, I get the spectacle thing, because, I'm actually a MonsterVerse defender, and I actually kind of use the same arguments that you use for, the same argument that you used for Avatar, I use for Godzilla. Because, those Godzilla movies, do they have the best story? No. But gosh dang, are they visually pleasing. The sonically, like the roars and monsters, like it is a sight to behold.
Here's a movie.
So
here's a movie that was entertainment and no way trash. Top Gun Maverick, and we all know how well that did.
Yep, I'd argue the Sonic movie.
And low key showed how to do diversity.
Yeah, and the Sonic movie too. Yeah, exactly. And from The Last of Us is actually really, really good.
Well, just wait till they get to season 2.
Just wait till they get to season 2 because they actually said they're going to keep it game accurate. So I'm like, okay, only watching season 1.
Yep.
Also,
Exactly.
I'd like to note everyone loved Witcher season 1, and then look how quickly that went off the rails. So
it got so bad. Henry Cavill was like out because did you see it was to the point where he would like go, I think we should say it the way it was said in page 256 of this novel. Like he had the page numbers down.
Yeah, that thing got nasty. Like those showrunners, like they really tried to throw him under the bus. They tried to like, oh, he was such a toxic gamer bro on set when like not even 5 minutes ago they were singing his praises, talking about all this stuff, and it's like, come on.
I've heard good things about House of Dragon.
How have you not watched House of the Dragon? That thing is.
I'm not a Game of Thrones dude. It's
You haven't watched House of the Dragon?
I've seen the whole series twice through already.
Wow,
love it.
Jared, this is the perfect series to start with because this is a prequel. Like this is actually a prequel, and this is season 1. So if you're gonna actually get started, this is a perfect entry point for you. So please,
I tried Game of Thrones; it just didn't really interest me.
No, watch House of the Dragon, please.
All right, I'll try it out. Okay.
And they got really good showrunners this time. Like D&D, like Dave Denioff and Weiss are not in the part of this, so thank God. Thank the many-faced God. And I love it, and I'm actually really excited. We kind of know where it goes, but I'm really excited for season 2.
Yeah, I'll check it out because Nick basically was on his knees begging me to watch it. So there you go. I'll watch it. But
I guarantee you're gonna watch episode 1, and then you're kind of be like, "Oh my God, you're right. This is amazing." But
all right, so Nick, let me ask you this on that note: how do you differentiate entertainment from trash?
It's really simple. Entertainment makes you feel something. Trash does not. Now,
it's anger. It's anger.
I will say, there is kind of like good trash and like bad trash. Like there's kind of something like watching kind of trashy TV shows, kind of like a guilty pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or like
or the Species movies. That those are very much entertaining.
Like for example, watching Riverdale. It's bad.
Oh my gosh! Why did you say that name?
Because it's perfectly showing my point. I say Riverdale is good trash because it's bad, but you watch it just to see how ridiculous it gets, and it's just like it takes jumping the shark into a competitive sport.
90 Day Fiance. Oh, jeez.
Hey, man, one of my favorite movies is Armageddon. I watch it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I love that show.
I love that movie. That's such a fun movie because you don't need to think. You could just shut your brain off. Hell, any of the Transformers movies, except for the last one. The last one was just trash.
Yeah.
That was bad trash.
It was really bad trash. Speaking of bad trash, JJheat, what do you think about what do you think of that Gotham Knights trailer? Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry, I'm holding the bucket for him.
Because the bat suit is a tuxedo, but with a really crappy Halloween Batman mask. What?
I just feel like, despite being the relative incompetence.
Sorry, I think I just lost 3 years of my life to that.
What you're saying, JJheat?
But I feel like because with the CW sale and the showrunners were still under contract, Gotham Knights was just a compromise instead of outright buying them out. Even though it's probably gonna last one season, barely that, before it's just scrapped. I would have pulled a Batgirl and just claimed the tax write-off and just been done with it. I mean, from the teaser alone, this is going to be a train wreck. But
it's very CW. Let me put it that way. It's very modern CW.
The
I say
CW was
modern.
always like this. They just had a few good content to actually prop it up. Supernatural,
Arrow season 1 and 2.
yeah.
I mean, the entire Arrowverse in general, but now that like that whole thing is kind of everything's like Flash is going into its final season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I guarantee you, Riverdale is probably not going to last probably a few more seasons.
Here's another example of like diarrhea trash. That remember the Charlie's Angels remake?
Yeah, Charlie's Angels kind of came out in an era where it's like we're going to insult men, we're going to tell them not to come. Why didn't you come to our movie, men?
Yeah. Oh, how does the CW stay alive? I've wondered that. Like,
well, they were propped up by Netflix. Like, basically, their shows were
True.
going to Netflix, and they were getting a lot of money because of that. But like that model is kind of collapsing in and of itself. So yeah.
But so that's kind of where I want to lead this topic. But yeah, the way I did differentiate trash from entertainment is, first off, if you're basing this piece of content off of source material, be faithful to the frickin' source material. I know it's really hard for a lot of people, but I'm looking at you, Halo. It's gotta actually feel like the source material.
I will say this before we move on.
Yeah.
With some of these modern nowadays writers, it feels like these comics and stories are just storyboards written for TV shows and movies rather than a good story. Because you can adapt just about anything on a piece of paper.
Yeah, like I think that's kind of a symptom of a lot of modern showrunners. And you saw this kind of like with Game of Thrones as well, where they write for moments. Like they have these moments in their head. They have these like scenes. Like they devise these moments and then they work backwards from there. Xeviuss, what are your thoughts? Because you kind of have a little more of your head into this game. What's your kind of inside thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, when we're talking about the CW, it's, and again, I've watched quite a bit of it. I mean, again, I give everything a shot, and that was, I guess, a couple of years ago. I watched all of season 1 of Batwoman, and it was.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know. But I was doing some reviews, and I just
no wonder you have gray hair,
right? Yeah, and see, there's got to be like you got these writers' rooms, you got all this politics, you got all this political stuff happening, whether you got your money coming from here or from Netflix or whatever, and then you've got like Greg Berlanti has got his fingers in everything, and everything is he's twisting these storylines around to a degree for inclusion and diversity and all that stuff. So you always sort of every episode of every series, there's this there's this moment where you're like, this isn't part of the story. This is telling you something. This is a message. So I think that fuels it a lot more than it ought to be. And now, I mean, they've gone off the deep end, and same as the comics.
Oh yeah. Marvel more than DC, but DC actually is doing stuff that people like, because if you look at the sales, because it actually came out, so some of the sales for like Dawn of DC, a lot of that reboot is doing really well. People really connecting with it. I'm like, really? You actually respect the characters, and look what happens.
See, that's the thing. DC never went as far off the deep end as Marvel did.
That's why I love that. That's one of the reasons why I historically love DC more than Marvel, because as woke as DC has gotten, I don't think it's ever gotten as bad as Marvel has been.
The fact that we didn't get 5G is a blessing in disguise in some ways.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so it could get bad, but there's more. DC has in my mind always been less woke than Marvel. That's just I'm gonna die on that hill. It's from an outsider's perspective. That's what it is. Of course, there's going to be some social justice leaning books, but for the most part, it's been like, yeah, Megan Fitzmartin. Yes, exactly. Thank you. But now it's not really a woke issue with DC now. It's just bad writers. They're just hiring people that don't.
Tom Taylor.
He's good in Elseworld stories.
That's the asterisk.
By the way, I was talking to Nerdette's Newsstand today on the show, and we were talking about Tom Taylor and Tom King, and she goes, Tom King is basically Tom Taylor, and I go, well, that's a compliment. But she meant was that he's better at Elseworld stories, but I'm like, It's just like that's an interesting statement to say. He's like Tom Taylor.
I feel like Tom King has the opposite problem. He's slightly better at main continuity stories, but Tom King gets in over his head with his own personal craft, or he
I
don't
think
do.
I think we could agree on one thing. They're still better than Bendis.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. Anything. A rusty nail is better than Bendis.
So, Xeviuss, have you ever had any interactions with Bendis?
No, not personally, but I certainly know people who do. Obviously,
And what do they say about him?
Never really come up. Yeah,
Oh.
so,
Well, I hear he's a nice guy. We're not doubting if he's a nice guy. We're just saying, as far as the DC work has been, it's been like, it's been rocky at best, but minefield level at worst.
Mm-hmm.
DC actually did better than Marvel and woke stuff by releasing the Bombshell universe as a separate continuity from mainstream. Yeah, that's the thing about DC. DC does more of the multiverse stuff for that, because remember, Alan Scott was introduced as gay in the Earth 2 book. So they started off, they're like, okay, so you know what? Let's do this in the Elseworlds continuity. If it takes off, maybe we'll consider adopting it. If it doesn't, hey, it's Elseworlds. There you go. It's just there.
Yeah, it's kind of like I remember like when we were talking to Chuck Dixon kind of way back when, and the way that he was kind of saying it was like these people, they come in, and it used to be Marvel and DC were like your end game. Like that's where you wanted to go. Like your career, you structured your career so you wanted to end there. That was like when you made it. Now people are using Marvel and DC as a stepping stone to go to something somewhere else. Like they work at Marvel or DC for a little while, and then they work for Variety, or if they write for something else. And so you have these people that come in and they have the mindset of, oh, I'm just going to be here for a few years. What does it matter? What does it matter if I mess up these stories? I'm going to do what I want, And that was basically Chuck Dixon's take on the whole thing.
The issue is we probably would attract more better writers if these companies treated their creatives better.
Yeah. I mean, like the whole reason Image started was because of royalties,
and it hasn't gotten any better. And it's gotten worse because now we're hearing that Marvel can't even pay people now.
I mean, that's kind of been a thing. Like, Marvel or DC, Marvel especially screwing over their creators is literally a tale as old as time.
Yeah, but it's just
remember how they treated Kirby. Remember that.
Yeah, remember how they treated Kirby, exactly, and how DC for the longest time treated Bill Finger.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, heck, right before Captain America came out, like they treated Joe Simon like really badly. Like there was actually like a big lawsuit right before the Captain. Like Joe Simon did live long enough to see Captain America come out, so thank God for that. But like he actually won his lawsuit right before, and then I think the Steve Ditko estate is currently suing. I'm not. Did that suit get resolved by now, or is it still ongoing?
I think it's still ongoing because it got extended a couple weeks back.
And also remember how poorly the DC treated the Siegel and Schuster family.
To be fair, they basically. DC bought the rights to Superman at the time for $600. So some fault does lay on Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's part for selling the rights at that time. Also, I do believe they were getting work up into like the 60s and the 70s. Like I think like they. Am I right, Xeviuss, or?
That sounds about right, but I don't know exactly what.
Because I remember seeing like their names kind of pop up in like some 60s comics. I think maybe some 70s.
That had to be the coolest assignment ever. If you're like an artist and and the writer that's assigned to you is one of the dudes that invented Superman.
Or imagine working with Jack Kirby in like the 70s.
that has got to be the coolest meeting ever, where they're like, oh yeah, you're working with Jack Kirby, or like or like like one of the co-creators of Superman. You're like oh hell yes.
Yeah,
I remember Jack by the time 1960 rolled around, Jack Kirby was already a legend because like he co-created Captain America with Joe Simon.
Yeah, and there's a reason why DC he's responsible for like all the new God stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because correct me if I'm wrong. That's what he I think. Was it that the Eternals were like what he wanted to do with the New Gods, or was it the other way around? Because I know he was doing a story for one of the two. It didn't get finished, and that became like I think it was either the New Gods or the Eternals.
I know that he had a falling out. I know the. I don't know the story. I don't know the story, but it definitely involves Stan Lee because Stan Lee is. I mean, I don't want to speak too harshly of him, but he was a glory hound. You know, like he did a lot for the industry, but like there's a lot of like bad stuff he did. You know, like he was never like what was Bob Kane bad. Like oh my god, I love the stories of like that Stan Lee told. Like Stan Lee couldn't even stand Bob Kane. He could not stand him.
Oh, there was this great story of that I think Joe Sharenko told the story about. He met Bob Kane and like he slapped him across the face. Yeah, exactly. I love that. That was so good because the dude is 100% a glory hound, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's like in my mind, the way it works that the artist does. It doesn't matter if the writer comes up with an idea for the character. The artist deserves at least half credit because if the artist comes up, if the writer comes up with like a great idea for a character, but the design is crap, that character's not going to take off.
Yeah.
So as a comic book creator myself, I guess I'm more on the writing side. My feelings are it really depends on how much input comes up with stuff. Like if the writer has like a fully formed idea of what it is, and like, you know, it's like, and the artist is basically just translating the ideas of the writer wholesale, and the artist is not really adding too much, then it's a little bit more slanted. But if it's more like coming with the ideas together, then yes, co-creator credit for. So it's I don't know. What's your take on that, Xeviuss?
Yeah, go ahead, Xeviuss.
You know, I've worked on a lot of projects over 20 years. With you know, with writers, and sometimes I just find it's really different from thing to thing. Like I can say, I can't. Like I've got NDAs. So this thing I'm working on with the director for Arrow, the guy I mentioned earlier, I've got a script. It's long. You know, it's like 90 something pages, and I'm storyboarding it, and I basically got free reign. I did something with Rob Meyer Burnett that's ongoing. I guess you could say it's on pause. And again, I've got some loose descriptions, you know, in a screenplay, but I'm storyboard guy. So I'm doing the outfits, I'm doing the settings, I'm doing, again, it's a lot of free reign. So that's that side. And the one with Nick could become a graphic novel as well. You know, whether Netflix picks it up or not, you know, I don't know. But you just, these things take a few years to happen.
I would watch the Screecher series on Netflix. You kidding me?
I think he's talking about the other Nick.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry.
That's the good.
Yeah, the guy who did.
I mean, if Screecher becomes a Netflix series, I'm sure you're going to be involved, Xeviuss.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry, I was talking about the guy who did the pilot in the first 2 seasons of Arrow.
Okay.
And a lot of he did a lot of Supernatural for the first 4 or 5 seasons too. So we're doing a thing. So to answer your question, Nick, so those things I have a ton of freedom. I'm working on another thing, which is pretty specific to figure out pretty specific descriptions of what the character looks like, or you know, in your case, just to do one cover, the character's design, and I love the design. So I'm like, okay, I have to do this to spec, right? Which, you know, like, you know, I didn't want to change something.
I mean, to be fair, you did take some liberties, like you kind of like set the like the cape of light and whatnot. My philosophy is when I'm working with people is I assume that like artists, they know what they're doing. Like I'm not an artist, so like I tend to just let the artist kind of do their thing as long as it's like doesn't go too far of it. Like obviously I didn't tell you to set the cape of light, but like it just looked so good that like I'm like, you know what, screw it. You know, it looks good. I mean, you kind of did some variants, and like your original looked the best. So it's like, I don't mind. Like, I don't mind when artists take initiative as long as it's good. That's basically, you know, it's like,
yeah,
if you're going to change what I do, you
because
better make it look good.
Because who's going to turn down an image that has like the cape, but basically looks like it's on fire and it looks this badass? Like, yeah, you're not gonna say that. You would be nuts to say, yeah, can you make the cape look more realistic? I'm like, no. First off, it's a superhero book.
Plus, like, when you're working with professionals, and I do call myself, after 2 decades illustrating and art directing, it's really important to like sort of let people do their thing. Like, I'm working on another thing with a writer who's a professional. I don't nitpick. We'll get to the point where we're lettering and maybe change a phrase or something like that, but that's his job. You let him do it. I think like what, and there's a lot of beginners around in this indie comic space too, which is kind of awkward because some people are like, you got a control freak sometimes, and I'll bump into friction here and there and be like, it's like, do you want me to do my thing, or did you want me to? And sometimes these things go, it's you're not trusting me to do my job. And that happens in corporate. That's sort of more what I'm talking about, actually. Like, I can charge $5-10 grand for a logo in corporate on a good day. And then, you go away for a couple of weeks, you do some ideas, you get some input from one person, not 10 people. It doesn't go on Twitter. You don't have a vote. And then I'll come back with maybe 2 or 3 ideas. And again, logos are super important to comic books. To me, some people, we've talked about that a little bit, Nick. But like, Superman's not Superman without that logo, because it's all the branding.
So, like, kind of to clue you guys in, like, I was actually going to go with like one title logo. You just know the story. Like, I was going to go with one thing, and like, I thought it was cool, but like Xeviuss like, so I kind of had to do like a kind of emergency thing, and like, it still wasn't the best, but it was better,
Okay.
But Zenith, you feel that Lois Lane is a redundant character in modern comics?
Gosh, are you really going there?
Hey, it's an honest question.
So, before you answer that, Xeviuss, this has been an ongoing debate in that I posted a video saying, okay, to be clear, I'm not saying get rid of the character of Lois Lane. I'm just saying that her marriage to Clark Kent is unneeded, and it just leads to stale storytelling because he's always saving her. There's no stakes at this point. That's all I'm saying.
I haven't read a Superman comic for a long time now.
Really?
Yeah, I just haven't. Again, like I said, I went to the comic shop in this last year, and I'm like, what are you going to sell me? He's like, I got nothing. So, like I said, I bought a bunch of old DC stuff and read them instead. So, I'm good.
That works.
So let me ask you this then. What comic book characters do you enjoy? Like, so if you're not a Superman fan, what do you consider yourself?
Actually, yes. Let me ask this: who's your favorite comic book character?
That's tricky. God, it just might be Lobo, because I've got a really, really, like I said, that was the best thing. And in, let's say, for like 2025, I want them to do the paramilitary Christmas special.
Oh my God, you need to do a fan art of Jason Momoa as Lobo. I can imagine that thing's going to get picked up like crazy.
Dude, that could be a poster. But in your
because I can just see you do that, and I can just see so many outlets like picking up on that. Like, it'd be crazy.
Exposure.
Well, it's I'm always hustling because I was working on a book which is done, and that wrapped up about a month or so ago, and I've been doing I've just been entertaining myself between real work. I did Ghostbusters, and I had 2 requests.
That was really good.
Cool, thank you. And yeah, I shipped. I'm shipping on Monday to Spain and to London, and make some decent money off that, like 11/17s and 18/24s. And I did Dukes of Hazzard because I'm in a muscle car phase right now. And I did the Nostromo, which had like 140 plus likes, I think, last weekend. So, yeah, to do you never know. Like, I did it.
Oh my God. You know what would be really cool? Tron Legacy light cycles. Like, oh my God, with your style, that would be so good. Like a disc wars, like a disc battle kind of thing. Oh,
that would be really cool. So let me ask you this:
I'm just giving you ideas.
In your opinion, Xeviuss, what's better, Marvel or DC? I think I already know the answer to this, based upon our conversation, but might as well just ask that.
Yeah, I like DC.
Yeah,
you are in good hands. You're in good company.
You're in good company.
Okay, good to know.
But in my opinion, Brown Destroyer makes a good point. You could argue the New 52 universe could have been a standalone continuity, but
as
again,
Elseworlds.
It could have been the Ultimate Universe for DC.
But if that would have been ripping off Marvel's Ultimates, which is pretty ironic.
But it worked.
Yeah.
And that would have, because what that allows you to do is that you can make all the changes you want. And guess what? Anyone that doesn't like it, I'll just go read the classic universe. That's totally fine. I prefer that one. You could prefer this one.
Here's what people tend to forget about the Ultimate Universe. It worked really well for like the first 5 years.
Yeah.
And it fell apart later.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the initial birth, like Ultimate Universe was good longer than the New 52 existed.
Yeah, that's true. But and here's the thing: you have to have like a solid plan on what you're doing with because the idea of having a separate universe for new people where you could just do whatever you want. That's a great idea. It's easier to get. I got in the New 52 because of that. I didn't have to read anything. It's like, okay, just show up day one, pick up this book, you're good to go. But it's that's why, because that's why I think a lot of people have trouble getting into comics, because like, okay, I want to read Batman. Okay, you have to read this issue, but you might want to read the Tom King run, and then you might want to read all the way to Detective 27. It's like it stacks really hard, so people are like, I don't want to get into this anymore.
The eternal problem of the entry point. Like that's a constantly moving target.
Well, that's to answer your initial question, Jared. Just sort of reflecting on it here for a moment. Batman's my all-time,
there you go,
absolutely top character.
There you go.
I knew there was a reason we were friends.
Okay.
I have the hot toy Batman from the Snyder Cut that's in the little coat right there.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, I love a lot of YouTubers and people on Twitter. That campaign is really taking off. Surprisingly.
Oh, they sell the Snyder. They sell the license the Snyderverse to Netflix. Yeah, it's getting
Xeviuss, have you heard of that? Have you heard of that movement?
Sorry, say again. I was looking for.
Have you heard of the movement that's going around on Twitter to license the Snyderverse to Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
What is your thoughts on it?
I've been on a handful of shows, like all the Snyder Cut stuff, and I haven't really followed that closely.
We are very pro Snyderverse here.
I'm wearing the hoodie, so it's like,
oh, cool.
But okay, so what it is? Okay, so what is it? It's a movement to essentially have Warner Brothers like that particular iteration of the universe, like all the DC movies. Zack's entire story that he had for because he originally had like a 5-film arc, so it'll only be like maybe two Justice League movies. Just have them made and funded by Netflix. Just that way it gets released on Netflix. You could say it's separate. It's totally fine with that. Plus the fact you have to wait for Zack Snyder's like exclusive deal with Netflix to go down, because guess what? He's already there.
Yeah, so what do you think about that? Like, I have my doubts about how viable that idea is. I mean, at first I thought it was like so ridiculous, like not even gonna happen, like it's kind of stupid to even think about it, but like I since kind of warmed up a little bit. Like, I think like I still have like my severe doubts, but I'm like, I guess wait and see, never know.
Let me put it this way, we had doubts. Remember for how many years we had doubts that the Snyder Cut was going to be released?
Yeah, I mean that was a very unique set of circumstances. That was AT&T's doing.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying crazier stuff has happened in the past. So I'm like,
true.
It wouldn't surprise. Let me put it this way: at this point, it would not surprise me if they said, "You know what? We'll just do that."
Some.
Yeah, like. Sorry,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead.
So just when things started to kind of percolate about release the Snyder Cut, there's a lot of really in the know people I know. We talked about it. It's like, dude, that's insane. There's no way. And I mean, like I listen to, and I've been on like Rob Burnett's show. Love it. And I John Campy is kind of he's hit and miss, but I catch him a few times a week. And these guys are all saying it's like, this is never, ever the logistics of this. It's impossible. And then when it started to kind of get leaked that it might actually happen, then it did happen. There was the most insane thing that's happened in Hollywood in a long time. Like it was really
because that
unlikely.
never happens. They don't re-release 3 years later the director's cut of. They don't allow them to come back and finish the movie and then release it.
Yep.
I still think. So we know enough that like they have the footage, they have the capability of doing an Ayer cut. Like we know that like they have what they need to do. Like it's possible to release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad.
They could do that on Netflix too. But here's the thing: the difference between doing the Snyder cut and like doing the Snyderverse on Netflix, because the Snyder cut was pretty much done. It was like 75% done. This would entail like actually doing the whole process over again for 2 more movies, or one if they wanted to like condense it down to 1 movie. Now the thing is that I'm like, could this actually happen? Is what I want. Is what I'm wondering.
It could. It's just very moderately unlikely.
Yeah.
But like Xeviuss said, at one point, people were adamant that the Snyder cut would never happen.
Yeah. So
that was like some of the pundits. I guess you guys all watch John Campea sometimes too, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, John knows his stuff. Like I mean, he's the smartest guy there is. And then now you've got it with when he doubles up with Rob, it's even better. And those guys were just like, nope, not possible. And they were ballparking, the money for transfers and scoring and all the things it would entail. There's like no way they could ever make their money. But then it happened. So
didn't the Snyder cut cost take like $20 million to finish or something?
70.
Oh,
they gave him $70 million to finish it.
Wow. Yeah, that's not surprising.
At that point, you might as well just make a whole new movie.
Yeah, but and the rumor is that there's actual I've heard that after the Snyder Cut came out, they were going to do the rest of the movies, but it got to the point where Toby Emmerich, who used to run Warner Brothers, shut down the division that was going to handle that. In other words, you know how like in the early Snyder Cut trailers it says Warner Max, so that was another studio that was going to do the Snyder. Do Justice League 2 and 3, but then he completely shut them down. Mm-hmm. That is like the most asinine thing. That's why people are so pissed off at Warner Brothers. So, but what were you gonna say, JJheat?
Yeah, they were forced to expose how incompetent they were.
Yeah, because when you see like the theatrical cut to what happened with the Snyder Cut, it's like night and day in terms of the movies.
Also, one thing that like everyone has to reconcile with is the Snyder Cut, all things being equal, was a hit. Like given the circumstances of its release, it was a hit.
Yep.
I mean, it crashed.
It crashed HBO Max servers the day it was released.
I mean, look at Twitter. Like Snyderverse stuff is literally trending every day.
Yep.
So there's no reason to really not at least do something to continue it. Maybe even do a comic series like an animated movie, but do something to continue the story because the audience is there. You just have to do it. Don't listen to the vocal minority on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's just
but I can't imagine what the profits were. Like, did they recoup the 70 million? That was additional.
Well, the streaming numbers were really good. And I want to imagine the physical sales, were probably pretty good.
Sold out on DVD. There were weeks I would go by like Best Buy, Target, and the DVD racks were empty where it says Zack Snyder's Justice League. I was just lucky enough that I picked it up on Amazon, and it was gone. That like $70 to $100 triple pack that has Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder's Justice League was also sold out on Amazon a few times. And the sales of all the merchandise, because you have the Hot Toys, you have a $25,000 statue of Henry Cavill that sold out in like an hour.
Hey,
25,000.
Speaking of Snyder Cut,
either that or 250,000. It was like actually, I think it was like 2,500, but it was like a ridiculous amount for it to sell out.
Jared, tangent. Yeah. One thing I was wondering, where did you actually get the Trident from?
Trident. Oh, that was just Amazon. I looked up
Oh,
Justice League Trident, and it was there for like $40.
Is that official merchandise, or is it like?
Yeah, it's from the Whedon cut, but I had to get it because it was the one that was in the Snyder cut.
Is it metal or plastic?
It's like wood.
Oh,
Wood.
It's actually made pretty well. It's wood. I think it's wrapped in something, but it is actually really, really sturdy and a feel. It has a weight to it too, so I like that. So yes, I now rule Atlantis. But speaking of DC movies, we might as well move on to our last topic, which is kind of a game. So we're gonna take the original DC movies, in other words, like the movies that came out pre-Man of Steel, and forge and make it so they actually connect. In other words, make our own cinematic universe for the DC movies. We did this with the Marvel, but
so we're gonna connect Batman the motion picture.
we could do Keaton Batman.
No, I'm going even further. I'm going west.
Oh no, we're not doing that. But
Shark repellent.
The Bat Shark. He would have a bat. He would have the kryptonite gum from Scott Snyder's run of Justice League. But I think we should start with the first Christian Bale movie.
Okay,
I mean, that was easy.
Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. Let's assume Ben Affleck's Batman never happened in that version. You could have very easily have slotted in Batman into that Man of Steel post Man of Steel universe, because like Superman's Man of Steel happened in 2013, while like all the Nolan stuff was kind of very much self-contained.
Because what you could do, you could make it where what made Batman come out of retirement is the emergence of this Kryptonian that was like that was like a threat to humanity. You can kind of do like how Batman saw Superman as a George Reeves and Adam West universe. Yeah, he'll be with the George Reeves Superman. In China, in the China streaming, the Snyder cut had better numbers than Endgame.
Okay.
Really?
So that should tell you about the money pit that they the money pile that they just set on fire like it's in the Dark Knight.
Jared, you know who has played George Reeves?
Yeah, Ben Affleck. That's where the pictures of Ben Affleck in the Superman suit come from.
Which, by the way, that's actually a really good movie.
I was going to say, what was that called again? I've never seen it. Okay, I want to catch that.
And by the way, in this movie, he actually makes out with his love interest is Diane Lane, who plays Martha.
Oh my gosh!
I couldn't resist, could you?
Wow!
Like Jared, we need to do that for a movie night. We need to have that be a movie night.
All right,
Please.
So real quick, Nick, who does he make out with again?
Martha.
Why did you say that name?
He had that set up so well.
I knew what you were doing. I knew what you were doing.
You knew what I was doing. There you go. But Halle Berry, Catwoman are in the lame duck universe.
And shout out to Pika Shays, whose Superman Red Sun review is going to be uploading is rendering in a few hours.
Oh, and by the way, I have the comics' first appearance of Steel. I'm debating if I should CGC it, but that's just
also
that's what I noticed. Yeah, what's up?
Catwoman plays basketball in her movie, so now we have Steel and Catwoman playing basketball together.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Would we put them as no? They're the bad superhero movies that like they watch in universe.
You know, I watched Catwoman in the Halle Berry in the last year or so, and I had a really good time. It was just
wow, really.
It's a so bad it's good movie.
Well, see, the first superhero I can remember ever seeing, on TV, the syndicated original Adam West Batman, and that was the stupidest show.
It was just a stupid show.
It wasn't good, and even when I was really young, I was like, I knew it wasn't good.
Bookworm, am I legible?
So, but no, Halle Berry, she does a couple of cat things and hisses and does the claws.
She literally does the cat got your tongue bit.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? We're watching Catwoman for a movie night. We may have to do that and just rant about it.
You should.
Yeah, and you know what? No. I think I figured it out. All right. one of us so the way it works out, Xeviuss, is that we have this plan that like on April Fools, we're each going to take a project that we absolutely hate and then positively review it. So I'm wondering who wants to take the bullet and do Catwoman?
Not it.
I think. See, here's the thing, JJheat. Nick had the not it thing first.
And then you do
So
video
looks like-
reviews or what?
Yeah, we do like streams where we talk about them. It's essentially a movie night stream.
Yeah, every Saturday at 6, we basically review a movie. Usually it's like comic book, superhero related. You're welcome to come on them if you want.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay, good to know. It'll be fun.
Oh, see, I just learned that this exists.
Oh
Wait,
yeah.
Are we doing X-Men this week?
Yeah, we're doing X-Men, but the Justice League TV movie. You guys remember that?
Oh Lord.
But it was kind of, say what you want about the show. The lineup is actually accurate to the comics of the time. It was that crappy.
You know
Yeah,
what
it
we
was
need to talk
Justice League
about? We need
International.
to talk about some of these, like, what about George Miller's Justice League Dark?
Or just his Justice League movie, because I would love to actually see that.
You do realize Jack Black was almost cast as Hal Jordan in the 2000s.
I know, and
Really?
he'd be better as Guy Gardner, I think. If
Jack
I had to
Black.
cast him as Green Lantern.
See, the thing about Jack Black is he can actually do drama. Like, he's actually, like, if you see him in King Kong, he's actually a pretty decent, like, drama actor. So
I
it's like,
can't see him. I can't see him as Hal, though.
I argue Kilowog.
Maybe that would be hilarious. His voice, or maybe Tomar Ray.
Kyle Rayner.
I could see him as Kyle Rayner, and it's pronounced Rayner. It's not Mount Rainier, but anyway. But yeah, that's a movie that that's what we should do for a stream. By the way, we should actually read the Justice League Mortal script, like act it out.
You know what you need to watch, Jared?
What?
You need to watch the on-aired pilot for Wonder Woman with
Adrian. I'm trying to find it.
I've
I've
seen it.
I have to find it. Send me a link or something like that. As long as I'm not like doing this.
It's been like 10 years. But like my favorite scene is where she's trying to like visit someone in the hospital, and like the guy he's like, he's like, you see these open doors? Yes,
because that's 100%.
They literally did that.
Wonder Woman TV pilot.
You're gonna have to stay on the high seas for it. I'm just gonna let you know.
And that's from the 70s.
No, that's from like the late 2000s.
Was Pedro Pascal in that?
Carrie Ellis was.
Okay, yeah, this looks
so.
bad.
You know the XO on the Orville.
I don't watch that show.
You need to. But Xeviuss, have you seen the Orville?
Oh yeah, lots.
But the ex-wife.
The witch?
Seth MacFarlane's like his second in command, the woman who's like his ex-wife on that show.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, the X, yes.
Plays Wonder Woman. It's an on-aired pilot. It was being done by David E. Kelly. It's like late 2000s, early 2010s kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna do a Wonder Woman show.
It was 2011.
Okay, there we go. It's an on-air pilot, but if you sail the high seas a little bit, you can find it and watch it.
Okay.
Wow.
Is it good? Is it funny?
Oh, it's bad. It's hilariously bad. There's a reason.
So it's CW cover. Level.
Well, actually, it's going to be done by NBC. So.
Oh well, that's even worse.
So it's bad, but at least it has production value.
Okay, that's fine. But the whole these line, that's 100% something Wonder Woman would say. Oh my gosh. But yeah. So going back to what we're doing, so I think we should, since we're doing pre-Man of Steel, that means we have to link it to Superman Returns, which that's fine.
Superman Returns is in the Christopher Reeve verse. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no Superman in this universe, because I already established the rule we're going pre-Man of Steel.
Let's just say that we're creating an Earth 2.
Yeah, that's fine. So so we'll just have Christian Bale be the Batman of Earth 2.
No, Christian Bale is a Batman of Earth 1. Keaton is a Batman of Earth 2.
Okay, that works. We might as well just have those two because I think DC confirmed that they exist on the same Earth. So there you go.
Exactly. That was kind of where I was using my logic from.
And then, but who would be the Superman? The Superman for? I got it. Okay, how about
so Snyder Cut movies are not part of this at all, right?
Not part of this at all. Why don't you use this Tom Welling?
For Smallville or Superman and Lois?
Tom Welling. He would be the Superman of the Baleverse.
Wait, what about Dean Cain?
I think
Dean Cain from Lois and Clark. He could, yeah.
Yeah, I think he could do it. It would be interesting to see if he makes fun of Christian Bale's stupid Batman voice. I wonder, was that a Nolan thing or was that like Christian Bale?
That was a Nolan thing because
God.
Just get a voice modulator.
Where's the trigger? Where is it? That even hurts my voice. Jeez.
Oh, by the way, I think we should put the Birds of Prey TV show in the Smallville universe.
Yeah, we'll put it in there. That show is actually pretty decent, actually. It's not as bad as I remember.
First live action appearance of Harley Quinn.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. That like it's. I'm sure. Yeah, it's the reason why you don't list like Gal Gadot. Like Margot Robbie, like she's the first live action Harley Quinn because he's not.
First in the movies.
Yeah, but I'm glad they didn't use all those qualifiers. I hate it when they use like these. Oh, it's the first black male captain born on a Sunday. It's like they do all these.
Well, I love where they were like, Black Panther is the first black superhero movie, and I'm like, no, it's not. Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Blank Man.
Okay, but
1999, but we don't talk about that.
No, Blank Man was 1993.
Oh yeah, but Tom, or maybe you, and also Spawn. Spawn movie is actually really interesting.
Yeah, Spawn was like 95, 96. It came out in between.
We're talking about that on movie night one day. We absolutely have to. But
I actually like that movie.
I like it too. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's interesting.
Also, Michael Jai White is amazing.
Perfect.
It's like, even today he can still play Spawn.
Xeviuss, have you seen the Spawn movie?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Yep. I liked it, but that's been a while now. That's no comment. Enjoyed it at the time in the theater.
John Leguizamo nailed it as a clown.
That's an interesting project that's coming out. Is they're making another Spawn movie.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly Jamie Foxx is going to be Al Simmons.
I could see that too. That's fine with that. He and Michael Jai White are like fantastic choices. But I mean, Nick, I came to a realization, by the way. So one of the things on the show, whenever we fan cast people, Nick always casts Jensen Ackles as Red Hood. Okay, here's why they can't do that in the movie universe. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
James Gunn himself has said that they're going for like a young 25 to 30-year-old Batman, and I don't think Ackles can play like younger than a 25 to 30-year-old Batman. He has to be younger.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Let me put it this way: he's great as Red Hood. I'm not debating that. I just think if they're going to do it in the movie, they may have to go with someone else.
Well, animation's a little different because all you got to do is do a voiceover. But in terms of actual physicality, he could do it but only for the first couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He would definitely need to get a stunt double by phase 2.
I mean, to be fair, if Jeffrey Dean Morgan can still pull out like a Thomas Wayne Batman performance, I'm sure like, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is probably like 20 years older than Jensen Ackles. I'm sure Jensen Ackles can still.
I'm not saying
for like the next 10 to 20 years.
I'm not saying like him not playing Red Hood at all. I'm just saying the relationship to Batman is off because Batman has to be older than Jason Todd.
Oh, I get that, but like JJheat was being like, oh, he's gonna be all decrepit here in a few years. So he
won't.
Like,
no, have you seen that guy?
He's really not that old. Like I think like what, late 30s. Okay, I gotta look this up. I'm curious.
But anyway, so as Xeviuss, what were you gonna say?
I was thinking out loud. Isn't Jensen Ackles like in his late 40s?
And he's 44.
There you go.
That's still pretty. It's still pretty young. Like,
and the way that guy takes care of himself, I'm sure he could play it for a good portion.
I mean, just remember, Tom Cruise is in his 60s and he's still doing stuff. You know, like
he does all of his stunts. So I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he could figure it out. But so. In terms of so
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is only 12 years older than Jensen Ackles. That is crazy.
Wait, how old is he?
56.
Okay, that is crazy.
He's actually a lot younger than I thought he was. I thought Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in his 60s.
Me too.
Yeah.
So what other movies are we tossing in this universe? What other DC movies came out around this time?
Not many.
Yeah, not many. It was mostly just crappy Marvel movies.
Trying to think here.
We can just throw Catwoman in there just for fun.
Remember Green Lantern is a part of this.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern counts. That's fine.
I'm trying to think what came out in the 2000s, like
and
Batman stuff.
Here's what I'm gonna do. We're living in a universe where Justice League Mortal exists, so we can actually say I would release. We can include Justice League Mortal.
What was the lineup for Justice League Mortal? Superman, Batman.
Oh,
Wonder Woman,
Aquaman.
Yes,
is based off of the failed television pilot.
Yeah, you mean the
Justin
dude
Hartley.
that played Oliver Queen in Smallville?
Stephen
Justin
Amell.
Hartley. No, Justin Hartley.
Justin Hartley. But yeah, so
Which also it's a crime. They never had Justin Hartley on Arrow for like that.
Like a cameo. Yeah, that would have been so good. That would have been so good. But yeah, I think that's about all we can throw in there, really, because there wasn't much. There wasn't much DC content that came out of there. Are we counting Steel?
I mean, like animation was on fire. They're doing their Justice League stuff. Like animation was really good. Yeah, the 2000s, like just like 2000 to 2009 was really barren for DC.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you had the Batman films, Superman Returns, but like that's really about it.
What about Watchmen?
Actually, that's actually a good
like
one, Xeviuss. Yeah, we'll throw Watchmen in here. That works. That works.
Yeah, well, speaking of Jeffrey Dean Morgan and all.
Yeah. That's our first movie because timeline wise it takes place before the other one, so that would actually work really well.
Yeah, I still want him to play Thomas Wayne Batman. So
yes, Flashpoint Batman. He looks like Flashpoint Batman.
Yeah,
and
I really want Flashpoint Batman to use a bat with barbed wire on it.
And I really want
Lucille is hungry.
Lauren Cohen as the Joker, as Flashpoint Joker. She was she and Jeffrey played Thomas and Martha Wayne in BVS in that opening scene that we've seen 80,000 times of the pearls falling. Still cool. But
also I love the in-universe explanation. Like basically in the Watchmen universe, I think it was like Night Owl actually saved the Waynes from Joe Chill.
Yeah.
So in that universe,
and in the background you see
never cancels Batman.
And in the background you see like I think it's like a cover of Detective 27 in the back, like hanging on the wall as like a poster or something like that.
See the problem. I mean, for Batman it works, but the problem is, so does Superman just never come to this universe? Like, does Wonder Woman never leave Themyscira? That's
a good question. That's actually a really good question there because
Batman works like that. Yeah, like for like that explanation works. Like that's covered. But like Superman, like does Wonder Woman, like it's like does he not land?
Maybe he did, but Dr. Manhattan snapped him away.
Why would he do that?
Because he could see that like this world was not exactly okay with like one being that had like the powers of a god.
It doesn't kind of a reach. I think that's kind of a reach. I don't know.
Or remember when he leaves and goes, "I'm gonna go create." What if Krypton is not? None of the DC except for like Batman exists in this world, and then he goes and creates the world with like the typical DC universe exists. No, he is the hand that creates the DC universe.
Or what if Superman doesn't even appear until after Manhattan leaves?
And the movie's called Doomsday Clock.
Because remember,
for 5 years.
This takes place in the 80s. So you could just say Superman was literally growing up in like the 70s, 80s, and the 90s or something. It's just that Clark was too young or something. So you can see that. So you can kind of that works.
Here's one. You guys remember the movie Losers?
That's DC.
That's DC. It's Vertigo. It's a show about it's kind of like the A-Team, but
wasn't Chris Evans in the movie?
Yes, exactly. Chris Evans.
Speaking of Vertigo, V for Vendetta.
Oh yes, I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen it?
What?
Nope. I'm not a Vertigo guy typically.
You need to watch V for Vendetta.
I will. I got a lot of stuff on my list of stuff I gotta watch.
Keanu Reeves Constantine, that's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, he's our Constantine of this universe. He has to be. He's also the nicest guy in the world. But and I think it should culminate in. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So let's say that Keanu Reeves and Hugh Jackman are meeting up at a restaurant to have lunch together, and they both arrive at the same time. Who opens the door for whom?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question there. I think Keanu is too nice to not open the door first. He's gonna do it first.
Yep. I think Keanu is such a nice guy that like when Hugh Jackman says "I insist," he's like, "All right, fine,"
And then he opens the next door.
Well, that's just common courtesy.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But on that note, and I think the end movie is JL Mortal, because actually in JL Mortal, that movie would have been a good like capstone to end it, because a lot of characters die in that movie. If you haven't read that script, it is nuts. Except, you know who plays Maxwell Lord in that movie? You're gonna probably hate this. Remember the kid from The Sorcerer's Apprentice?
Oh God.
What?
Yeah, he was the one that was supposed to play Maxwell Lord.
And people thought Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was.
I know, right? I saw that and I was like, no, I hate that.
I mean, I like him as an actor, like the roles he does. I like him what he does.
He'll be,
but like as Maxwell Lord,
he'll be a better Flash, honestly.
He would make a good Bart Allen or Wally West.
Yep. I was saying as Wally or something like that, but but yeah, that's pretty much actually.
He can even do Beast Boy. Honestly, he can even play Beast Boy.
Let's see, Justice League Mortal cast.
Actually, no, he'd be my pick for Beast Boy. That's what I think.
DJ Catrona was gonna play Superman, and if you don't know who that is, he in Shazam, he's the dude in the green suit.
Oh, okay.
What?
Remember in wait, who's in this movie? But remember in Shazam, in the Shazam movie, the Shazam family member who's in the green suit?
Hmm.
Oh, no. Armie Hammer the Cannibal was going to play Batman.
Yeah.
Wait, Austin St. John was supposed to be in this movie? Or
yeah,
wait?
I'm like, who the hell is he supposed to play here? I'm trying to figure that out.
Why is Walter Jones? Like, what the heck?
Let me see here. All right, who is supposed to play this? Okay, so let me see here. I'm trying to find an actual.
Oh, Anton Yelchin was going to play Wally West. That's actually really good.
Common was going to play Jon Stewart, and I'm like, that's solid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I'm trying to see who was going to.
Adam Brody as Barry Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm trying to find the actual cast, because then I can actually like say if I agree with these or not. But DJ, I agree. Yeah, Armie Hammer
sounds familiar.
Superman. Santiago Cabrera's Aquaman. He was in Transformers last night. I don't know who that is. Megan Gale from Mad Max Fury Road was going to be Wonder Woman.
Really?
Hugh Keys Byron was going to play Martian Manhunter. He's also from Mad Max Fury Road. And then we had Common as Green Lantern. But
Looking at Megan Gale, yeah, she definitely has a Wonder Woman build to her. Like she's got that kind of like slim, kind of like, but like, yeah, I could definitely see her as Wonder Woman. Anton Yelchin as Wally West. Oh, that would have been so good.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm looking at Gale now, and I'm like, yeah, she could definitely play Wonder Woman. So we could go on for hours about this. Lord knows we do when we do castings, but it's like, I don't know, 2:30 at night, so we're gonna wrap it up. Xeviuss, it was a pleasure having you on, man. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being invited on here. Good to get to know you guys. And yeah, Nick and I were like, oh, we should just chat one of these days. When I work with people,
yeah, you've been bugging me about it for so long. I was like, all right, fine.
Oh, it's just, a lot of when I work with writers and whoever, just bullshitting for what? Pardon me, but
it's
just
far enough in the video. I think you're good.
It's far enough.
Yeah. Anyway,
but yeah, I appreciate it. And where can everyone find you, bro?
You can find me on everything at this spelling. So Xeviuss with 2 S's at the end. And I've got I like to think a really fun Instagram. I try to post to it every couple of days. That's my art.
Mm-hmm.
And Twitter, again, I'm pretty active on there with mostly art. And got a YouTube channel that I've underutilized for the time being, but that's 3 places. So come say hi.
Awesome. I'd love to. So Nick, what can we expect from the Phoenix Press this upcoming week?
Well, let's see here. We got the Avatar rewatch with Jared, and then we got the podcast, the Super Split Screen Bros, which you guys have been supporting really well. I do appreciate that. And then Turn Samurai is going really well. I just got back the storyboards. Also, guess who's doing the cover for Turn Samurai?
Heck yeah!
Nice. Yeah, I look forward to it, man. Cool looking character. So yeah, we'll get on that when you're ready.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so sweet. You did an amazing job with Screecher. Thank you. I think I owe a lot of the success to your amazing cover, and I look forward to working with you again.
Good. Yeah, me too.
And JJheat, what about you?
Well, my Blazing Shonen podcast, I have to redo the first episode. It's definitely going to be a Screecher review. So shout out to Nick and Xeviuss. It was great working with you guys tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
And of course, the Soul Tour playthroughs and Sunday on Teladius channel this week in DC.
Wait, didn't your friend do some art for SWTOR?
A good friend of mine did the cover for KOTOR.
SWTOR, like Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, and I took we sat down for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours a couple months ago at the Edmonton Comic Con, and he showed me a behind the scenes of a bunch of his, because he's doing oil on board, like 1824, 2436.
Wow.
And he had like some commissions that he just brought along to show at different stages. And I mean, we came up through school together, so I've been stealing some tricks from him, and he critiques my work, so it's a kind of a secret weapon.
Awesome.
Yeah. You missed like the first part of the show where he was giving us all the insight.
He's basically the Forrest Gump of the art community, apparently.
Kind of.
But so in terms of what comics is coming out, I'm coming out with a video that's going to be on how to fix DC Comics. My upcoming fan edit is I'm gonna make a concept trailer for the Ben Affleck's The Batman, which is gonna be like the original script of that movie. I just got a lot of I spent today combing through YouTube for a bunch of clips of Deathstroke from like Titans and Arrow. It's not a perfect translation to Joe Manganiello, but it's like the best I can work with. But Indie Wednesday, I'm gonna be talking about some more Invincible content. Just under 2 capes. We'll see what happens. And in terms of the comic, I am about halfway done with editing the first draft. And Xeviuss, if you want to do like a variant for my project, you're more than welcome to.
I would love to do that, man. Yeah.
Bro, you really need to get Xeviuss to do something for your comic. He does amazing work.
Yeah. I've seen, if it's anything like this, I think we're in for a good run around. So
I just got to say this.
Yeah.
I love bringing people together.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's what YouTube is. That's what YouTube's for.
That's what it should
I'm
be
sorry.
for.
I've been holding that like literally the entire episode. So
I'm sure you have. Thank you. I'm glad you released that, Nick. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. All these guys' information should be in the description. And stay work, everyone. Bye-bye.
Excelsior.
Yeah.